If you've ever said, if they only knew how much I could help them, if you ever said, if they only knew how much this product can help them, or your services, you are in the right place, because we are sharing the secrets to how to get them to not only hear you, but pay close attention. It's all in the story. I'm Ann DeVere, Access to Experts, and my co-host is Seth Mulder. Hey, Seth. So
Hey,
happy
Ann.
to be joining you. Yes.
Oh, this is going to be amazing. I'm super excited.
Yeah, so am I. I'm coming in from LA, and Seth is on the road being the superstar that he is. Where are you coming in from, Seth?
Well, it's no place as glamorous as Los Angeles, but I am in the Rocky Mountains. That counts for something. I'm actually about an hour south of Salt Lake City, Utah today. But it doesn't really matter where I am to do what I do as an entrepreneur. But I am coming in from green fields and snow-peaked or snow-capped mountains.
Okay, folks, that was a story in itself. Could you see Seth sitting in the middle of green fields and looking out of the window at snow-capped mountains? Yeah, that's a story in itself. Everything is a story. And those are the things you're going to be learning about, how to take special moments and tell them in a way where people are experiencing it right along with you, regardless of when it was. So if you're ready, grab those pens and papers and join us. Here is what you're in for. But now I'm going to go ahead and go full screen to share with you what you're going to be learning here today with our time together. Okay, we're going to know how to identify the 3 key elements of your unique influencer code. And that's going to give you the opportunity to connect with your divine customer. Yeah, the person that inspires you, and you are here to serve. So that's the first thing you're going to learn, your unique influencer code. Next, we're actually going to be showing you how to harness the power of TEDx style stories. Yep, those TED Talks you love to watch and learn from. You're going to get the secret for that, and you're going to know how to make it your own. Another thing you're going to learn is how to know, well, make the camera love you, So what's the secret? How do you show up in a dynamic way? If you've had what we call a reluctant celebrity syndrome, if you have hesitation to getting on camera, stay close. Pay close attention. And finally, one of the other things you're going to learn is how to create your personal declaration. I'm talking about it turns your dreams into your lifestyle now. Okay, so excited, get your message out there, serve the people you meant to serve, and you will be rewarded, but not only just in any old way, in a way that inspires you, in a way that gives you the lifestyle that you want to live. So if you're wondering why we're so excited, this is it. Okay, Seth, let's get to it. Let's get to it and share some of this information. I know you're super excited about doing this.
Listening to you, my body temperature is just rising because I'm seeing literally over my history, 22 years as an entrepreneur, what you're talking about, these principles, these concepts, I'm seeing them. I'm running through my mind how important a role they've played in my life, in my success, in reaching, creating my own lifestyle. And that gets me excited. That gets me really, really passionate. So yeah, I am ready. I'm off the charts. Temperature, we just blew the thing off my temperature gauge, and I'm excited to really dive in and give some massive value with you today.
Yeah, no, as I am. So, but before we dive into the content, you guys, Seth has built 3 huge businesses. I'm talking about multi-million-dollar businesses. And he shares his secrets, with some amazing people. And I'm also learning from him right now on how to create my declaration, if you will, right? But more importantly, how to implement it. So what Seth is going to share with you is the real deal. It's how to do it, how to get it done. So, and as for me, I'm access to experts. And for many years, I've been training experts to be interviewed on network TV. But the purpose of the network TV appearances is for them to grow their businesses. It's about them turning their expertise into their online programs and have a system where they are able to support their clients. So that's why Seth and I have gotten together, because, I will be sharing with you the unique influencer code and TEDx style stories, and Seth is going to show you how to pull all that together and turn it into a plan of action that's going to give you what you want. So you guys, I hope you're as excited as we are, because we are bringing it. It's on, and let's get to it. So again, going back to, if you've ever said, if they only knew how much I could help them, you're in the right place. But let's get started with something that you have been hearing all your life, probably, right? Well, maybe all your business life, let's say. The know, like, and trust factor. We've been hearing, like, all things being equal, people will do business with people they know, like, and trust. So Seth, you're nodding your head. Isn't it true?
Who do you want to work with? I mean, who do you want to spend your time with? Who do you feel comfortable with? Let's face it, the world of business, the world of being a consumer, whatever it might be, you don't have time. I don't have the emotional capacity to entrust my money, my time, my relationships. So much of that has to do with my family, right? Because you're bringing them, they're whatever you're buying, whatever you're doing. Listen, I don't have time to invest it with people that I don't actually know, like, and trust. It's one thing to be loved, but it is a whole nother level to be trusted. When somebody trusts you, wow, you're put in a position to have significant positive influence in their lives, right?
Absolutely. Yes. So let's break it down. How are people going to know, like, and trust you? We hear it so much, we don't even pay attention, but it's a very, very powerful system. So for people to know you, they need to know that you exist. And how do you do that? You show up, you're seen. Social media, maybe networking meetings, you just show up. You show up so people know you exist. That's the first part. Are you showing up? It's the most important part. Get out there. So people need to know that you exist. So the next part is they're going to like you, right? Well, how are they going to like you? This is when they get to know you as the person. There are many people out there doing what you do, offering the same products, offering similar services, right? The only way they're going to like you is if you share about yourself. What are you passionate about? What's important to you? What are your experiences? And you're going to learn how to do that today. And for them to trust you, you need to be sharing your special gifts, your knowledge, those special gems, those gifts that you have, the tips and resources that you share. How do you share it is going to make all the difference. And again, you're going to learn that here. And when you put all that together, that's when magic happens. That's when know, like, and trust turns into dollars, which is what we're here for, right? So without further ado, we're going to dive into the unique influencer code. So before I go sharing that, I know, Seth, you had a beautiful experience with the unique influencer code.
Okay, so I've been telling my story as an entrepreneur for 22 years. I really attribute it largely to my success. When I sat with you not too long ago, and you literally put one of the most beautiful, simple approaches to, I liken it to, you think about a code, I think about a combination, right? A lock. And why do you lock something up? Because there's a treasure there. I felt like this was the secret combination code, those magic numbers to unlock a massive treasure. And even though I've been really successful sharing my story and my vision stories in whatever industries I've been in, whether that's been clothing or wellness or entrepreneurialism or business startup, I never did it as well as I'm doing it now, that you've helped me unlock my unique influencer code. I have such an appreciation for me and my gifts that I never had, and you helped me unlock that.
Oh, I so love the way you put it, the treasure. You know, when we start looking at ourselves as a treasure, which we really are, right? Each one of us is so unique. And each one of us has all these unique experiences, whether in business or in life. But when we start looking at ourselves in a whole different perspective, you know, our experiences from a whole different perspective, they are uniquely ours. And not a single person has ever lived or will live again is going to have the same experiences. And that's where it comes in. I just love the way you said, unlock the treasure, you know? Yeah, our experiences are treasures. And so let's take a look at how they come together. So there are 3 parts to your unique code. The very first one, is your work experiences. And our work experiences, these are the successes that we've had, and also the learning opportunities. The successes show people what we have done, what we can do, and what are our wins, and how do we get to where we are. But the learning opportunities are just as important, if not more so, because that's when we actually transform ourselves. But then if we're sharing those stories in a way that people can actually follow through, maybe they can avoid some of the learning opportunities that we had to have. So they're very valuable. I know for myself, because I've had mentors, because I have, learned from, whether it's from books or whether it's actually attending events, whichever way to learn more, I have avoided some major mishaps. It's like, oh my God, I didn't know that. I'm so glad, because I was just getting ready to do it. And I'm so glad I heard this. So your experiences are treasures. And the way you share it, the way you display it, the way you offer your treasures to the world makes a difference. So it's your perspective first, your successes, acknowledge them, and find the treasures in your learning opportunities. There are diamonds in those fields, as they say, right? Yeah. So, I know that you've been sharing a lot of your treasures, Seth. That's one of the things you do beautifully through your stories. So, and I can't wait for people to hear more about it. But let's move on to our second treasure chest, and that's our life experiences. And same as our work experiences, our life experiences come to us in forms of successes and learning opportunities. Maybe you've had some amazing opportunities in life. You made some really great decisions, but what about those opportunities that gave you the biggest transformation opportunities? Those things that, in all honesty, I wish I could have avoided some of the things, but then when I look back, I'm like, oh my God, they were my transformational moments. And later on, you're going to know how to take those transformational moments and have a whole different perspective. So get ready. And finally, this one that I'm going to share with you is the one that's rarely added to our marketing, because we usually don't dive into it ourselves. And this is one, when I share with people, they go, oh my goodness, it shifts everything. And Seth, I can't wait to hear your perspective on this. But you know what? Go ahead. And before I even put up what the third one is, what was special about this experience for you? Because this was the one that you went, aha,
Well, as I walked through unique influencer code with you, and I started cataloging work experiences, successes, learning opportunities, life experiences, successes, learning opportunities, and I started to see how I've shared those over the course of my life. Maybe not, certainly not to the extent that you taught me. Like I was so undervaluing me. I was undervaluing my story. It was like, I've got this I was just in South Dakota. Okay. So gold mining, right? 1870s. It's like, I have this gold mine that you've only harvested, you've only mined, you've only extracted a tiny portion of the value. And you've got caverns and caverns and caverns just waiting to be explored. And that's what you opened up for me. Oh, let's harvest this tunnel, work experiences, life experience. Okay. Then the mother lode. You said, let's look at what Anne's going to tell you. And it blew my ever loving mind. I had never thought about my value and its value to my story, right? And my story is what's going to help people know, like, and trust me. It is a golden key. I'm going to tell you, I don't look at myself the same. I don't value myself the same. Listen, I don't value myself here anymore. I'm way up here. I'm off the charts. And when you feel that way about yourself, watch out, world.
Okay, so I hope you guys were paying close attention, because Seth is quite the storyteller. And what makes it dynamic, I'm going to share that with you in just a bit. But as you're listening to him, right, every time Seth speaks, pay close attention to his body language, his tonality, just his energy, okay? Just pay attention, because watching him is a training in itself. So look at how excited you get. The caverns, in the gold mines, you get the visuals as he was describing. Even if you've never gone gold mining in the mountains, but you've seen movies as he was describing it, the way he says it, you could say, oh yeah, I know, I've seen caverns in a movie. You guys get this? The words we use are so impactful. And if you choose them strategically to bring up different emotions in people, you're getting it. You're watching it happen. This is a training in itself. Okay, so watch Seth closely. I'm going to keep tossing the hot potato over to him, and he catches it and delivers it beautifully. So, okay, Seth, here we go. We're ready. We're going for the mother load here, right?
Give it to him. Give it to him, man.
Yeah. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go full screen here in just a minute, so you can take a screenshot if you like of this, because this could be your template when you're creating your unique influencer code. Now, our natural gifts are what keeps us fired up. Our work experiences, we share our experiences, and those are, expertise, knowledge that we can share with people. When we share our life experiences, that's when we connect with people heart to heart. You say, oh, she gets me, oh, he gets me, those shared experiences. And so when we choose stories strategically, the right people embrace us. And knowing how to tell a story is really important. Now, choosing stories strategically is very important, because we can easily attract the wrong people. I'll just give you a quick example of that. I was in an abusive relationship as a teenager. I may share that, but I don't dive deep into it, because then I would be attracting a whole bunch of women who were abused, and I'm not qualified to be taking care of them. So I would be doing a disservice to them. I would be taking them away from somebody who actually could help them, but because they would connect with me emotionally, oh, Anne went through the same thing, then I would be pulling them away, and that would not be a good thing. So it's really important for us to choose the right stories to share in the right environment for the specific purpose, right? So our work experiences build credibility. Our life experiences connect us heart to heart. And I see you're ready. You're ready with something there, Seth.
You can see me. I'm ready to jump in. It's like Kentucky Derby, right? Where's the gun? Natural gifts. I just want to really, really briefly and succinctly show everybody how powerful this is. I had never considered what my artistic capabilities or gifts, and by the way, every one of us has gifts. It is up to you to catalog them, to recognize them, to be aware of them, and to develop them. But I never really knew, never even occurred to me, Anne, that my artistic gifts, now I don't consider my drawing to be my artistic gift, But when I started talking about how I love to sing or how I love to create some music, you got really excited. You said, Seth, how are you that you can use these gifts in your storytelling, in your business, right? You started talking about my physical gifts. I never even considered my specifications and my unique ability to use those, like who I am physically. That can affect how I tell TEDx stories. Yeah, absolutely. Again, this is a treasure trove here when you catalog, and that's what your influencer code does. When somebody jives in and says, I really want to map out my own unique influencer code, you start realizing gifts and ways to apply those gifts in a fashion I've never really ever considered. Again, 22 years as an entrepreneur, I never knew that my artistic or my cognitive or my intuitive gifts really played. I never was conscious of it. And you've brought that consciousness to me. Now that I'm aware, wow, I can really start to utilize them. So thank you, Anne.
No, I just love the way you're so fired up about it. And I hope those of you who are watching this, you're fired up because Seth just gave you enough to get you excited. I'm going to tell you how to identify your gifts. Now, our natural gifts, we all have them in all 4 categories. The very first one that Seth was talking about, artistic gifts. And this is whether it's drawing or painting or singing or dancing, playing a musical instrument, anything that's artistic. So again, we all have them in different degrees. So if you take a look at what are some of the things you naturally do, whether you just doodle by the phone or maybe you could sing or dance or whatever, what is it that you really enjoy? And I'm going to tell you in a minute, I'll give you the example of how I'm using it so you'll see how you're going to be able to use yours. Then there are the physical gifts. This is the one that most people have a resistance to. Whenever I say, let's take a look at your physical gifts, they're like, oh, and most of the time it's because we are taught to be humble. Well, you know what? The physical gifts that we have, whether it's the way we look, whether it's just our hair, or maybe anything that we have that's beautiful, and we all have them. We cannot be boasting about something because we didn't do anything to get them. We were born with them. That means it's a gift. So how do you acknowledge a gift? You appreciate it. You appreciate it and you share it. And, there you go. So what are some of your natural gifts? And what are some of your, artistic gifts and physical gifts? What do you like about yourself? And if you're not really sure, think about when you're getting dressed. What kind of clothes do you choose? What aspect of yourself do you highlight? Is it maybe you like your hair? Maybe you like your height? Maybe you like your eyes? Maybe whatever it is, your legs, whatever, every aspect of yourself. Maybe you're a fast runner and you're proud of those fast legs. Whatever it is that you appreciate about your physical gifts, you are already acknowledging it, but I want you to be more mindful and more on point and more on purpose and be thankful for them, knowing that it's a gift. It's a gift. And ladies, if you're saying it's my makeup only goes so far. Okay. You have to put makeup on something that's already beautiful to enhance it. So what are you enhancing? So you're not going to get away with it by blaming it on something else or giving credit. Take credit and give it to where it is. It's a blessing that you've been born with. Okay, so your physical gifts. And again, we're going to take a look at how you use them. Then there are the cognitive gifts, and this is the way we think. How do we think? In my case, I'm a problem solver. Somebody else could be very methodical, very detail oriented. How does your brain function? What are some of the things people say that, oh my God, you're amazing. How do you ... You want to take a look at that. And finally, the intuitive gifts. We are all intuitive. You know that little gut that feeling that we talk about, the little tap tap on the shoulder when we didn't listen to it, something, went bad. If you listen to it, amazing things happen. Yeah, it's your intuitive gift. Some of us are more intuitive than others, just like in all of these areas, some of us are more gifted than others. But how do you use them, and why would you? Well, here's the thing that I know about our natural gifts. While our work experiences build credibility, while our life experiences connect us heart to heart, our natural gifts, they get us fired up. It's the never extinguishing power within us, because that's what we are born to do. The things that we are good at, the things that we're blessed with, those are the things that keep us fired up. So if you want to share those stories and inspire people, you got to be inspired. So when you're focused on the things that you appreciate, and appreciation is the gasoline that goes on a fire, just flames it up. So let's now give you an example. So I'm very intuitive, and I'm a problem solver. So when I work with people closely, I'm able to come up with amazing solutions for them that they were not able to see because I'm looking at them from the outside. So how do you use your cognitive gifts? Do you find the little details on things? Or maybe you're also a problem solver. Maybe you're a quick thinker. And what about your intuitive? Do you sometimes get a thought and you call somebody and say, oh, I'm so glad you called because that. So those things you want to share, those things you want to acknowledge, and you can use those to connect, more with people and to inspire them as well. Now let's take a look at artistic gifts. Well, my main artistic gift is I love to dance. Music just moves me. How do I use it? Well, when we're doing live events, during breaks, music goes up, I start dancing. It de-stresses me, it energizes me, but then it gets everybody else in the audience comfortable, like, oh, she's dancing, let's go. All of a sudden, everybody's bonding together and having fun. So that's one of the ways I use my physical gifts, and my artistic gifts, right? And physical gifts, well, we all know how to look this way and that way, and I know I'm going to say it. In my younger days, when I used to I was single in New York, I used to go through the red velvet ropes quite easily. And I knew how to approach him. But you know what? Our physical gifts, there's so many ways we can use them. It's the way we look at people. It's the way we acknowledge them. It's the way we appreciate them. One look, a tender look can say, I hear you. I'm here for you. So how do you use your physical gifts? We all have them. So anyway, Seth, I'm going to toss it back over to you because this is loaded. And I hope we got people to think about who they are and appreciate their different aspects of themselves.
Timidity is not humility.
Ooh, that was so good.
You have to, it's your duty. It's your duty as a human being to acknowledge the gifts that you had, and to acknowledge them and to utilize them is not boastfulness. It's not pride. It's not the antithesis of humility. And so, as I remember, you talked about my physical gifts. We were talking about my artistic gifts, and I'm flowing, and I live this, and I do this, I dance, right? I do music, and you were very supportive of that, and that made me even feel better about myself. And said, Seth, let's talk about your physical gifts. And I'm like,
yes, I remember that.
You said, I can see something's going on in your mind. And I'm thinking, what do I write down? Part of that is this insane idea that we shouldn't talk well about ourselves, right? We've confused focus for pride or boastfulness. Focusing on your gifts is not pride or boastfulness, but now, we're humble. No, that is not humility, by the way. Not using what you have is not humility. You don't get to use that card anymore after today's masterclass. Part of it is also my trauma from my past. It's the trauma associated with my physical being gift and the experiences that I've had where I'm timid to come out. I'm scared to come out and acknowledge my gifts, because maybe I've been ridiculed, right? Maybe I've been put down. I've been in traumatic, non-supportive relationships that made it really hard. And that's something I've come to recognize. But I will tell you one thing. I appreciate my eyes. I appreciate my countenance, because I know through my business, through my ministry, through my parenting, I know that I have a gift to be able to look into people's souls. And I knew that one day when my daughter, at the time she's about 12 years old, the most pure, innocent she was the only daughter I had at the time. So this is the only daughter experience I had up to that point in my life. And she said, "Dad, you know, my friend so-and-so, she says that you have Jesus eyes." because you're able to look deeper. This is how I equated it. I was able to look deeper into her. And I thought, you know what? I do. I'm proud of that. I'm going to utilize that to bless and minister and help people. What happens when I don't acknowledge that gift, Anne? What happens when I play the so-called humility card? Again, that's not humility. You can't use that anymore. I miss out. What would have happened? And we'll get to this later. We talk about some extra bonus material, but what would have happened if I would have not acknowledged that? If my daughter wouldn't have said that, I wouldn't have acknowledged that, and I wouldn't have been utilizing that gift. Wow.
Yeah, that was so powerful, Seth. You know, I'm so glad you brought up the eyes, because we keep hearing, the eyes are the windows to the soul. And, we all connect through the eyes. So that might be a really good place for all of you to start is, an exercise, I read somewhere, this is a long time ago. So whenever you see somebody, look them in the eyes and silently, you don't say it out loud because people might think you're crazy. Silently, unless it's somebody that you know really well. Okay. So in turn, you just look them in the eyes and just think, I love you. And that connects you heart to heart. There's something about, I love you, the you that's in front of me, the you that I see, that's when we connect heart to heart and soul to soul. There's something about a person looking at us with loving eyes. It's just amazing. And we're all craving that. So at the very least, start with that gift, because we all have that very special gift. And here's what I love that Seth brought up. When you acknowledge it and you start focusing on it, it gains more power. Whatever that gift is, right? You enhance that gift. The more you see, when you just do the exercise. Next time you see somebody, and maybe they're angry, or maybe whatever, it's maybe somebody you don't even like, right? You don't have to like them to love them, as they say, right? But anyways, but practice it. Just look at it, but don't go to somebody you don't like just yet. Go to people that you just, I know, right? We have to be practical. We have to be practical. Let's flex that muscle as we go. But just do that. Just look at somebody and silently think, I love you. And then see what happens to them. They melt and you feel so good. Anyway, so listen, let's move on, because we've taken up a lot of time with this. But you know what? I'm so glad we did, because this is a very, very, very important part of it. This is the foundation of you being able to say, hey, if you only knew how much I could help you, well, now I'm going to tell you. But this is the foundational piece. Everything else is the layers up. Okay, so you guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next part, because we have so much more to share with you. Creating your stories. Okay, creating our stories. How do we choose those stories? Well, the most powerful stories are the ones that are known as perturbation stories. Oh, what's that word, Anne? What are you talking about? What? Wait, say that again. I'm going to go full screen for that. So we're going to be able to look at the dictionary, answer to what is perturbation. It's an alteration of the function of a biological system induced by external or internal mechanisms. Yeah, okay, great. Now, what does that mean? So much for the dictionary, not much help, I know, but here's, I've got the visuals for you folks. Okay, so let's see, what is that? So basically, whenever we face something, we have a wall that we actually keep hitting. We have challenges, we bounce up against the wall. If there's stress built and more stress built, maybe we keep hitting, the thing that we do over and over again. They say the definition of insanity is doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results. Well, we feel kind of insane. You keep hitting that wall. But what happens once you get the information that you need, or that insight that you need, you break through that wall, transformation happens. When transformation happens, you never go back to the way it was. Once your mind is expanded, it never goes back to its original size. And what that looks like is the process of extreme pressure. That's when charcoal turns into a diamond. A simple charcoal turns into a diamond. And that's what your experiences are. Charcoals that turn into diamonds, right? And those, learning experiences that I was talking about under extreme pressure, the ones that we would, oh gosh, I wish I could avoid that. Well, those are the ones that you're going to be able to connect heart to heart with people. They're going to say, she really gets me, he really gets me. And why is that important? Because regardless of what you do, there are a lot of other people doing the same thing. But when somebody hears your passion and understands why you're so good at what you do because of a unique experience, that's your superpower. That's your superpower. That's your diamond mind that you are walking around in that beautiful brain of yours, right? So.
Yes. Here, a lot of times, especially these days, the last 5 years, I hear a lot of people talking about how important it is to be vulnerable, right, Anne? And in the process of these change stories, perturbation, there is so much rawness, right? We're talking about element here. You're looking at coal, carbon, raw element, extreme pressure. And what happens when you have element and pressure? Sometimes it's suffering, it's learning, it's change. And that's how you go from coal, apply pressure, to this diamond, the treasure. We're back to this treasure. You are the treasure. I've noticed that one of my gifts is being able to be really vulnerable with people. Pulling back the curtain, if you will, right? Yeah, we've created successful businesses. People want to follow successful people, by the way. People want to follow people who are going places, who know where they're going, who know why they're going there. People also want to follow people who they relate to. We all have these perturbation stories, trauma, abuse, right? Struggle. We all have those. And so when you tap into that part of your story, I mean, there are multiple stories. I went through a divorce after 15 years, 6 children. It tore me apart. And you know what I'm proud of now? Do I ever want to go back? No, I don't. But I would never want to rewrite that, because I wouldn't be me today. And now in my work, I do a lot of work in the ministry. I talk a lot about divorce. I talk a lot about relationships. I talk to kids. I'm able to counsel and help children through that, through my story. Perturbation stories of extreme pressure, extreme change, transformation. They're some of the most powerful things that you can ever share.
Oh gosh, yes. And the other thing about it too, Seth, that you so beautifully share. I just love the way you share stories. It's when we go back to revisit a story, a memory, however painful it may be, we heal. And every time we share that story, we heal and we empower others. So that story, that was something so painful, because it becomes something treasured, because we see our uniqueness. We see our strengths. We see the possibilities in us, and we build on that, because that says, I went through that. I can go through this. It gives us courage. It inspires us. It gives us I can do attitude. And that's so, so, so important, because as leaders, we need to show people that, yes, you can go through things. Yes, you can. You become stronger on the other end. And you know what? You never know when your story is going to touch somebody at a time where they're most vulnerable. I know that I've had times where I was really, I'm not going to go into my stories right now, but I needed to hear hope from somebody, and people's stories encouraged me. They gave me the strength. They gave me the maybe there is hope for me feeling, and there was. And now I'm just, look at it. I learned how to turn charcoal into diamonds, and I'm sharing with people so they are able to see the treasures that they have within their stories. So okay, you guys, we can just go on with this all day long, but we better move on. So the next part, the story. How do you share your story? It's all about TEDx style stories. First, I want to tell you that I am not a TED Talk trainer. However, when we were training experts to be interviewed on network television, they had only 3 minutes to share. Right? 3 minutes to be interviewed on network television. So the stories had to be impactful. They had to inspire the audience. They had to give information to the audience in a way they could understand. And they had to connect also with the culture of the show they were on. That means the group, the network they were in. And also, most importantly for them, it was for them to inspire the people that they most wanted to serve. So they would follow them off of the TV show onto the website or wherever else. So I started studying, and you know what? I found the formula that worked beautifully. And years later, when I was actually working with one of the top TED Talk trainers, she happened to be out of Europe, she said, Ann, that's a TED Talk and you're doing it in 3 minutes, right? I'm like, really? I did get it. I figured it out and I was so happy. And the reason I'm sharing that with you is I want you to really pay attention to the power of what I'm about to share with you, because telling stories in a powerful, impactful way where you understand the purpose of it for you. Why are you telling that story? What do you want people to know about you? And how are they going to walk away, learn something from the story you're sharing? There is a way of doing it, and I'm going to be sharing that formula with you right now. And Seth, I see the look on your face. You got something to add here.
Think about what you could do in your profession, in your business, in your mission to impact the world, and hopefully to impact your bank account, right? I mean, business, you want to do both in business. What could you do if you had a supercharged method that you could do over and over and over, right? A formula to be able to tell your grand vision in 3 minutes. That's what this is. I think that is an absolute recipe for success, a formula to powerfully, focused, succinctly tell my story in 3 minutes. I love it.
Yeah, very, very powerful. Well said. So what I'm about to share with you is going to make it easy for you to literally supercharge your conversations, your interviews, your presentations, your webinars, your seminars, the books that you may be writing, the stories that you're sharing, the ebooks, whatever you're doing, everything is a story. And so how do you put it together? All right, grab those pens and here we go. Now, it doesn't make a difference what the story is. It doesn't make a difference whether it's an interview, whether it's an ad, whether it's a movie. To grab people's attention, when the script is written, there are 3 parts to it. One is the hook, to grab people's attention. The first 3 seconds, the opening statement, it's got to grab people's attention and have them wanting more, right? That's the job of the hook. Then there is the body. The body is there to educate and build trust. You want to gain trust, right? And so that's all we're going to be focused on today. I'm going to break that down for you so you know how to put that together. And the third is your call to action. What is the next indicated step? What is the compelling reason that people need to know? So they do take the next indicated step. So they do follow what you're suggesting. Now, what is that? Well, it has many different components to it. And we're not going to be sharing that today either, right? I'm just telling you, the one that we're going to focus on, the one that takes the longest, the middle, the body of it, that's what we're going to be focusing on. Because when you put that portion together, then your hook starts to rise so you can see it, and your call to action starts to rise so you know how to articulate it. So for this training, we're going to dive in deep on your why. So the first thing you want to do is choose your why story. Okay, choose your why story. Which one is it? So it could be on why, why do you do what you do? So what is the reason that you chose this particular profession? What inspires you? What gave you that idea? Or it could be the story of why do you sell that particular product? Okay, so if you're selling products, it could be that particular product. Or, well, it looked like we're going out of turn here, but that's okay. So it says it was in a hurry. Why are you writing that book? Or why did you write that book? Where did you get the idea? And of course, the program. Why did you create that particular program? If you're a trainer, if you're a coach, you do have programs, you're working with people. So choose each one of them, is a story in itself, and you should have many stories, everything, like why Seth and I got together. Well, because we had to put together information, that took both of us, his experience with creating those dynamic stories of building businesses, which he's going to be sharing with you, and my experience of crafting the stories, the mechanism, if you will. When we started, looking at what happens when we put those two components together, Seth and I, and our expertise, amazing things happen. He's learning from me, I'm learning from him, and that's the way it should be, right? And so that's why we got together and said, okay, we're going to be sharing this with people now. Let's do this, because that's what happens, when we start working with collaborative partners, right? Okay, so having said that, I want you to write down the 3 components, okay? So every story, when you start to put it together, you want to think about the characters, and I'm gonna dive into each one. So there are the characters, and there is the setting. That's the environment, that this story was actually being created. And the third is the plot. The plot is actually what happens. What is the story about? So before you write any story, remember the characters, the setting, and the plot. That's what brings in the drama, is the container for your story, so people are able to follow you, so they're able to experience it in a more impactful way. And so with this, I'm actually going to go full screen so you guys can see it much better. Okay, your story, the prep work happens this is before you even write the whole story. You want to identify the characters. You want to describe the characters in your story. Who are they? The main character, it's usually you, the problem solver. That's the main character, right? And the supporting characters, these are the people involved in the story. Sometimes they're part of the problem, sometimes they're part of the solution. So depending on how long you have for the story, you can use 1 or 2 or 3 characters. So the good thing about this is that if you already have the characters identified, then you can, include some of them and not others. The main character, of course, is always going to be that, but the most relevant you can include. If you have only 3 minutes, you may include only one person, or just go through it quickly. So who are those characters? Describe them. Are they old? Are they young? Are they, cranky? Are they happy? Whatever. Just describe them, right? And so the next thing that you want to kind of write down is the setting. This is the surrounding environment. Where were you? You want to be able to take people with you on a journey. They need to see and feel themselves in the scene. So was it a rainy day, and was it pouring down rain? Or maybe it was a spring shower. And could you smell the rain? Could you hear the rain? It was tap, tap, tap on the leaves. And then it was dripping down into this puddle, and I could see the rings in there, drip, 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 right? Or maybe it was a very hot summer day, and it just, so whatever the environment is, you want to describe it. Was it dark? Was it light? Was it dawn? Was it dusk? Was it the middle of the night? Was it chilly? Was it windy? What were you thinking? So all that is going to go in there, right? So be very descriptive, because we want to be there with you. So the actual story, there are 3 parts to the story. You want to put together the problem. What was the problem? Why did you decide to create that product or program? Or why do you do what you do? What was the problem? The next part is the solution. How did you find the solution? You basically are describing, I went on Google and I was doing a search for 3 months to find this specific solution for the problem. I kept doing search after search. And then finally, after watching 1,000 videos on YouTube, I found the answer I was looking for. You want to describe, how did you feel when you found it? You said, whoopee, oh my God, where was it? So how did you find it? And then, of course, the results. Because you found a solution, what were the results you got? What were the results other got from that same process? And that's what happens. A lot of times we choose what we do. The reason we do what we do is most likely we had a problem we had to find a solution for, or somebody we know and love had a problem we had to find a solution for. So we're searching for solutions, and that becomes our story. So, that's the formula. And we're going to be doing a lot more trainings on this, so you're going to be able to dive in there, but that's the formula. So start choose one story and start incorporating these components of crafting your story.
Anne, one thing that entrepreneurs, people with a message, right? Whether it was a book, we've talked people, we work with people who are authors or have programs. Maybe you're selling a product, right? Maybe you're building a business. Fact sharing, feature sharing is not storytelling. And typically it's unemotional. It's a fact. It's a feature. Great, my product is red and it'll do this and this and this and this. That's not touching the heart of what really makes people go around, and why even analytical people, by the way, make decisions based on how we feel about things. And so, I've worked with entrepreneurs, again, in the clothing industry, wholesale. We've designed clothing, wellness, coaching, team building, a lot of wellness product selling. And we often just want to go, here's what it is, right? And when you're able to share a story, why I'm here, rather than let me tell you the great things about my product, right? This mug, for example, let me tell you the great things about this mug. It's black. If I take you to the 2 people that I was sitting around a small table, right? And I describe why we're there. And I describe the setting, the people, and I bring you in. I'm painting a picture, and this can be done short, but succinctly. And then I tell you what the problem was in my life and what I found, right? And what happened. That is a recipe for change. In other words, the person listening to your story to say, I want that. I want exactly what they have. And when you just get into sharing features or just selling, it doesn't work. That just doesn't work.
Yeah, it's the impact, the impact things have on us and our lives. It's a ripple effect. How we feel, why we buy a certain car, why we buy a certain product, why we live in a certain part of the world. There is a story behind that. We choose where we are. Most of us can, nowadays people can just move, but we can choose the different cars. And why did we choose that particular car? Why do we go to that particular school? Why do we choose that particular profession? So the why behind it, the impact of it on our lives. And actually, Seth is going to share with you the mechanism when you're creating the story, the crafting the story. How do you look at the different aspects of our lives and how it's going to impact those aspects of our lives? We're going to both dive into that. But so let's keep moving on here. And the next thing that people come up with all the time, the question, I call it the reluctant celebrity syndrome. How I actually came up with that is I found people got excited when I said, okay, we're interviewing experts. Let's book you for your interview. I say, yes, let's do it, because they see the possibility. And then it's like, oh, I have to do ... whatever it is. They come up with different excuses. To them, they're reasons. And one of them, that comes up quite often, both, women and men. So, just so this one. The camera puts on weight. I'm going to go lose some weight and then I will come and do the interview. And it's like, it comes up all the time. We're doing live events, experiential trainings, right? And so I'm like, okay, all right. So let me ask you this. When was the last time you were sitting across somebody who was sharing information that you have been looking for? And you're like, wait, stop. Go home, lose 20 pounds, come back, I will listen to you. Doesn't happen. People don't care how much you weigh. It's you. They care about the impact you're going to have on their life with the knowledge that you have to share with them, with the products that you have to share with them. So I'm going to tell you how to make the camera love you. But Seth, I saw your response to that one. I know you have a good one for us.
We give way too much value. Part of it is because of the trauma in our life. Okay. We've had some traumatic experience that programs us and we kind of stay in that rut and we stay there and stay there and stay there. And the rut becomes the Grand Canyon and it's hard to get out of that. But people aren't concerned about your weight. Okay. If you have something that's going to change their life, that's where their message is going to be. Now, if you're selling features and you don't get to show them, tell the story about how this is going to change their life. People want to know, how can you help me, right? Make me feel important. Help me solve my problems. And when you dive into that, they don't care about, your makeup, right? They're not concerned about your weight. They're not concerned about, some feature that you might have been programmed to be super sensitive to. You have to get over that, because you're giving way too much value on something that isn't really a contributing factor.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'm going to give you a tip on how to at least minimize the effect of the reluctant celebrity syndrome. And I coined this phrase it was like 17 years ago, this phrase. It's been like, I've been using it. So it's a thing, people. So here's what you're going to do. To make the camera love you, you need to get out of your head and into your heart. So what do I mean by that? Whenever we are sharing a story with somebody, whether it's just one person, and their decision impacts us, well, I seem to have issues with I'm frozen.
You're moving to me, Anne.
Okay, well, it looks like it's frozen on my end. Well, let's see what it does here. Okay. So anyway, whenever we're speaking with somebody and their decision impacts us, especially in a major way. We're really concerned about how we come across. We're nervous, so we're in our head. Or if we're doing a presentation, we're stepping up on stage, there are people watching us, we're concerned about how we look, how we sound, did I practice enough, and all that. Or when we're being interviewed, so whenever it's going to impact us, it's natural for us to get into our head. But here's the thing. When we're stepping in front of somebody, that's because we already know what we know. We have done our homework. We are prepared. We know it. If somebody wakes you up in the middle of the night, they ask you a question, you're going to have the answer because you know your stuff, right? Now, if we're in our head, there is a disconnect. We're going to be nervous. So you want to attract people. You want to make the camera love you. You want to make the audience love you. You got to get into your heart. Remember, again, that heart-to-heart connection. You're there to add value. You're there to make a difference in them. So when you say go, get out of your head and get into your heart. It's about the act of giving the gift of your genius, the gift of your knowledge, the gift of your experience. So that's the tip. And we're going to be doing more trainings, and you'll hear more about it, where I will share with you the 15-minute hack of how to get rid of the reluctant celebrity syndrome. It's a 15-minute exercise that works 100% of the time. You guys are excited? Stay tuned, because you're going to be getting that knowledge. But this is the secret, the foundational secret. Today is all about the foundational pieces. And so get out of your head and get into your heart, because the head repels, the heart attracts. The heart is a magnet. So be magnetic, get into your heart.
I'm laughing, Anne, because as I look back over my about my ministry, I've served a lot of people all around the world in my business. I've had some of those experiences where I've been so in my head, so worried about about the lyrics, right? If it's singing, so worried about the printed word, so focused, so heady, so up here, that when I got in front of people, let's just say it didn't go like I planned it. And let's just say they didn't call me back.
Yeah, I've had that happen too. You know, by the way, I think we've all had those experiences. Yeah.
But what gives me great comfort is when I get into my heart, and you have some tools where you can intensively show people, here's how you do this. What if you could flip a switch? What if you could literally say, okay, I've prepared. This is not an excuse for not preparing, right? You got to prepare. But when it comes showtime, that camera's in front of you, or the audience is in front of you, right? The number one fear people have, by the way, is public speaking, right? What if there was a switch? What if you had a strategy where you could say, okay, I'm prepared. I've done as much preparing as I can. We're going to turn this off. We're going to just dial this down, and we're going to dial this up.
Yes.
And when you do that, you can look in that camera. You can look into the faces of the people that are with you, and it is a different experience. You are in what I call flow. You are in flow. You're moving. The river's just taking you. It's a beautiful experience because you're coming from where you are 100% qualified uniquely, and nobody else can do what you do because you've got that message in your heart. And it is a game changer. It is an absolute game changer.
It sure is said. That was beautifully said. And that's what everything I've been sharing, it's all designed for you to see the miracle that you are, how special that you are, the treasure that you are. The unique influencer code It's nobody else on the planet has the same stories. Nobody else on the planet ever has lived or will ever live will be having those unique stories, experiences that you have, or the special gifts that you have. And the way you tell those stories, the special experiences, the places you were, the stories that you share coming from your unique perspective, from your passion, from your experience, from your gifts, nobody else can touch it. So there is no competition. There is no competition. Nobody out there that's listening to you can say you're wrong, because this is your unique experience. So step into it and share the brilliance, your experiences, and make a difference in people's lives. And when you start really getting out of your head and getting into your heart, knowing that you're enough, who you are is enough, who you are is more than enough, it's overflowing. So step into it and be in gratitude of all the beautiful gifts that you have, and every experience. Yes, even the bad ones, and especially the bad ones, can be beautiful diamonds if you choose it to be. And so this is actually taking us right into what I just love the way Seth leans into this, the personal declaration. The first time I heard Seth read his personal declaration, I was like, oh my God, that's just beautiful, so passionate, and so it just on point. It was like somebody had made the most beautiful movie of what's possible. And it was just inspirational. All those of us who were actually watching the presentation, the training, it was the same response from all of us. Wow, I want that. I want that kind of life. I want to be able to have that vision. I want to be able to tap into that passion. I want that. And so with that said, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you, where you start describing what it is, your personal declaration. How did you come about creating your personal declaration?
Oh, I love this subject. And thank you so much for sharing how it affected you. And I'm going to tell you, when I was sharing that, I was in my heart, right? I was on camera. That was being broadcast all over the place, all over the world. I was definitely in my heart. And that's why I was free. I have to tee this up by saying I'm an underdog. So I love the underdog story. When I came into this world, my mom was a single mom. I never knew, nor have I ever met my biological father. You might call me, statistically, I'm an underdog, right? I was a short, late bloomer. And you can imagine, what is life like for a short, squeaky voiced late bloomer in high school? I'm going to tell you, there's some learning experiences there. I was an underdog. I remember the day I played sports in high school until the day that my height caught up, or my lack of height caught up with the realities of playing basketball at my high school, which was basketball is, I still say it today at 47 years old, basketball is life. So I was an underdog, and I had a story. I had a desire to go create, to excel, to be my best, to live my passion. But I had an underdeveloped declaration. Okay. And so as I went through my life in business, I always kind of felt like an underdog. And I think that served me. Again, I'll consider that actually, Anne, one of my gifts, going back to the personal influencer code. It's not just maybe the things that you're amazing at. What if what you don't have is a gift as well? What if the limitations? So sometimes we could talk about our abilities. What if a disability might be your gift? Ooh, well, that's a whole nother thing. But just that's a little about my background as I talk about my personal declaration. Knowing who you are, right? So there's a movie that came out in the recent past, very recent, called American Underdog. And it's the Kurt Warner story. Kurt Warner loved football from the time he could touch pigskin to his hands. He felt alive, gift, alert, hint, hint, hint. He felt alive when he had that football in his hands. His life wasn't easy, didn't grow up on silver spoons, etc. But he played football and loved it. High school, college, he got a chance. He got a long shot chance to try out in the NFL. He burned the chance. He wasn't ready when that chance came to him. So when he showed up to NFL tryouts, he didn't even toss a football. When you watch the movie, you'll get this if you've not seen it. So he loses his chance. But again, he knows what turns him on. He knows what flips that switch. He knows where he feels life. For him, football is life. Ends up going to play arena football, has some success. And then guess what? Really unique and rare, he gets a chance to try out again. He's way older than the other rookie tryouts, right? I mean, he's like wrinkly and decrepit compared to these guys just coming out. You can imagine being at these multi-billion-dollar potential facilities, happen to be for the St. Louis Rams, by the way. And he's a fish out of water, but he feels like he belongs there. And that isn't that the most important story being told? The most important narrative is the one that you are creating for yourself. Anyway, the offensive coordinator, now Kurt Warner's a quarterback for your information, if you've not seen the movie. How important is a quarterback for the offense of a professional football team? Everything goes through the quarterback, right? Yes. The offensive coordinator brings him in. And by the way, the offensive coordinator does not want him at tryouts. He's not an ally. He's the enemy, if you will. Can you imagine trying to be at a tryouts as a quarterback and the offensive coordinator doesn't want you there? You see where this story might be going.
Yeah.
He brings him into his office and says, "Sit down, Warner. If you don't mind, coach, I will stand. I'm going to take this standing up." By the way, you don't want to be called to the coach's office because usually that's not a good thing. "Warner, you don't belong here. Why are you even here?" I mean, he's just lambasting him. "You don't belong here. You're too old to be a rookie. You have no experience, even though you're older. Tell me, why should I risk?" Now, what does the coach want? Everybody has a need, folks. The client that you want to find in your business has a need. Whether it's the solutions that are going to come from the book that you're selling or the product that you're offering or the program that you have, right? Whatever you're building, coaches have needs too. That coach needs a quarterback who can run the offense, who can win ball games, because that's what it comes down to in the game of football. You don't belong here, Warner. Just imagine that, by the way. I mean, what a slap in the face.
Yeah, you know what? That's something we say to ourselves. We say that to ourselves, you guys. So how often do you say it? So I want you to hear this part. I had to interrupt that beautiful story set because that's something we hear all the time. So keep going. I'm loving this.
And what happens, Anne, when the personal declaration that you have for yourself is, "I don't belong here."
Yeah.
You don't belong here, Warner. With all due respect, coach, you're wrong. I know who I am, and I know why I'm here. And it's my time. I wasn't ready before. It wasn't my time before, but it's my time. When you know who you are and you know why you're here, it is your time.
I'm actually getting goosebumps listening to
Me
that.
too.
Because that's just so powerful. You don't belong here, and maybe people have said that to us. Maybe they have not verbalized it. Maybe we thought they said it. Maybe we said it to ourselves. But so many times, you don't belong here. That imposter syndrome comes out. That reluctant celebrity syndrome comes out. You don't belong here. And I love the way you brought it up, saying, what if you say that to yourself? What if your declaration is you don't belong here? Where do you go? Everywhere you go, you don't belong there because that's your declaration. I don't belong. What do you do? The walls close in, opportunities disappear. You don't see possibilities because if you don't belong, you don't belong, right? So where do you go? Desperation sets in. Think about it, you guys. So I hope you're paying close attention because your declaration is the foundation for your life. So yes, go ahead. I'm inspired, Seth. I'm inspired. You can tell.
Thank you. Thank you, Ann. The question is not,
Yeah.
do I have a personal declaration? You have a personal declaration and you are living it right now. It is what you are saying. It is a blueprint for your life. So, and no matter where you are in your career, I didn't write this specific personal declaration that I put down on paper that I'm going to share with you here in a few minutes. I didn't do that. I did that actually after having created sold over $1 billion of product, okay, through teams and entrepreneurialism in my career. Your story is applicable at every point on your journey. If you're just at the beginning and you're wanting to get your business started, right? You're writing your first book. If you're writing your 11th book, guess what? Your declaration is still affecting you. And what you're going to find is, through the hills and the valleys and the journey of life, is that things change, environments change, and you change. And so what got you to where you are, that story, it may be time for a new story. It may be time for a new declaration because you've burned it up, you've used it up, right? You've kind of all that fuel in the tank is gone. What you are telling yourself right now, what you are declaring to yourself is so important that it is worth writing it down. I want to talk to you about creating a new, powerful mastery declaration. So first thing, Ann's going to throw a slide up here.
I am. I'm going to go full up. Okay.
And I have to say this, Ann, too. Your personal declaration, right? This identity, it's really an identity. Your identity unlocks your destiny. And having this declaration dialed in turns your dream lifestyle into your reality. Whatever aspects of life, you're talking financial, you're talking health, you're talking relationships, you're talking spirituality. This declaration is who you are, and you are the only one qualified to write it. So there are 4 stages of lifestyle creation as you create this personal declaration. First thing is you just need to start thinking about it. You need to be willing to allow yourself to think about it, especially those of, and you've noticed I've talked about trauma. Those who've gone through trauma, and so many people have gone through trauma. Okay, we all have, right? When you acknowledge that you have, sometimes you want to play small and you don't want to think about these things, right? Because maybe we've had some disappointing experiences. I'm just going to ask, hopefully we've developed some trust today, you and me, and you and Ann, and develop some trust about your value, that you are worth investing everything that you have. If you're going to invest it in you, right? So you start thinking about what you want to create. What kind of lifestyle do you want to create? What type of person do you want to be? What type of experiences do you want to have? You just start thinking about them. And number one rule here is there are no wrong answers. Okay. This is not the analytical time. This is not that's not realistic time. This isn't the time where we're worried about reality. We're just going to start thinking about it. The worst thing you can ever do in brainstorming, and that's what you're doing here, brainstorming, creation process, the worst thing you can ever do is start qualifying it or limiting it. Don't do that. We can do that later, potentially. We can start crafting it. We start honing it. At first, just let it loose. If I were to say to you, what do you want things to look like? Think about it. And anything you write down, they're all positive answers. You get points for all of them. Okay. Think it. Now, as you start writing these things down and just thinking, allowing yourself to be creative, the next phase is you start seeing it. You thought, I want to be successful. Okay, by the way, what does success look like? That's another thing in thinking about it. Take it to the next step. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? This gets back to Anne's talk about storytelling and the setting. You want to describe the setting. Being successful, great. You want to be successful. What does that mean? Well, it means that I have enough money to pay all my bills. Awesome. Why is that important? Well, because I value my time fishing, right? That's what it really all comes down to. You just want to go fishing with your daughter. Start thinking these things, start writing them down. Then you start seeing these things. You literally start putting color to the framework. Then you start feeling it. I cognitively, like I force myself, if you will, I run through myself through an exercise in my personal declaration where I actually feel this story that I've created, that I've thought. Now that I see it, what does it feel like to actually be there? I'm going to tell you, when you start doing this at first, it's going to be almost it might be an out of body experience. You might feel like this tingling. You might, I'm starting to get it right now. You might feel this temperature. My temperature just rose right now. If we had thermal cameras on, it would be really interesting to see. My core body temperature just went up, because when you start to feel it, when you're there on that beach, or when you're there showing up as a lion in life, when you're there showing up feeling infinite and completely enough and emanating light, there's something physically that happens. You have to feel it. It is not enough to stay cognitive and just think about it. That's good, but it's not enough. We've learned about envisioning things. There have been all kinds of studies done on visioning things as athletes vision themselves. It's almost as good as practicing itself. Okay. The next wave of neuroscience is to actually be there. Okay. Feel what it's like. I know what I am going to feel like 2 years from now when I hit that next mega success that I'm working on in my life right now. Do you know why? Because I feel it just about every day. Like I take myself there. I already know what it feels like to be on that stage in front of 20,000 people for my acceptance speech for something that nobody has ever done in the world, in my field yet. I've already felt it. Take yourself and allow yourself to feel it. And then you live it. You start doing the actions and you start realizing, you start having experiences that are associated with all those steps in front. So those are the 4 stages of lifestyle creation. All right. Now Anne, did you want to say anything on
No,
that?
that was just, yeah, that was so powerful. And I love the way you even described your 2 years from now doing what you envisioned in front of 2,000 people, winning the award for doing something nobody in your industry has done yet to date. And what that means is that once you do it, other people are going to be able to do it. So that is so powerful, because, and the reason I want to actually point that out, because sometimes we will do more for others than we will do for ourselves, for whatever reason. So who is it that you want to inspire? For me, it's my daughter. I was like, I'll do things for her that I won't do for myself. But what about your team? What about your clients? When we're cheering them on. So all that, I just love the way you brought that up. You saw yourself doing it, and I actually, because I am learning from you, I'm like, go Seth. I want to see what you're doing because I want to do what you do. so and it's just, that's so important, because we inspire people with our action. So that was just a beautiful vision that you shared. I'm like, yeah, I'm there. I'm one of the 2,000 people in the audience. Okay, so I'm buying my ticket now.
20,000.
Oh, 20, I'm sorry, 20,000. What was I thinking? Yeah, it's just a zero, right? No, but 20,000. But no, what I'm saying is that I literally saw myself there. And that the beauty of the way you described it. So it's just very, very powerful. So keep going. I know there's much, much more here. So let's go to the next step.
So I'm going to give you a head start on writing your personal declaration, writing the life, writing the person. And this is all for me. And again, you get to create what you want. It was about, when I started writing this, it was all about where I was in my life at that point. And although it might have something to do with the things I want, or it was really more, because the core is, who am I? Remember Kurt Warner, the American underdog. I know who I am and why I'm here. So here are 5 keys of the declaration formula. Number 1, you write this down in present tense. And my favorite statement for this, I am, insert, right? I am. That is different than saying, I want to be, or I'm going to be. If you're always going to be, you'll actually never be there. You'll never be present, right? So I am infinite. I am a lion. I am successful. I am abundant. Stay in the present tense. Positive language. You're creating things that you want and the life that you want, as opposed to the things that you don't want. So I don't put things in that say, I am not afraid anymore, right? If you have lived a life in fear, understandable. We're going to go to the, I am confident. I am brave. I am courageous. And they are statements that are actually positive and positive energy building statements, as opposed to, I want to avoid the negative, right? I don't want to be in debt. I don't want to be scared anymore. I am sick of the rat race, right? I don't put those in my declaration, because I'm going to put 100% of my focus and my energy is on the life that I want, as opposed to avoiding the life that I don't want. Okay. That's neuroscience, by the way. You want to stay in the positive language. Emotionally charged emotions are the battery of our life. Okay. Your passions. We are passionate people, and you want to be connected. You want to be plugged into those emotions, because that's what's going to move you, right? Compel you. So make sure that these are things that you can feel. Maybe the language that you use brings up emotions because of the visualness of it, or the metaphorical nature of that. I love to be metaphorical, right? Be rooted in gratitude. I want a lot, folks. I want more. I want more than I have today. I am supremely grateful for all that I've been given. God's been really good to me. And I believe in this principle that if I'm grateful for what I have and I take care of it, then guess what? I deserve more, because I'm a good steward. I'm going to take care of what I have. I'm going to multiply it. I don't come at this from a scarcity mentality. Well, I don't have this, and now I really want this. No, I have so much, and that's why I deserve and I want more. Okay. So be really grateful for what you have. And you're reading this correctly. Believe it to see it. Believe it to see it. Don't worry about, well, I need to see it before I can believe it, right? Your brain will have some programming likely that, oh no, you're not good enough for that. Or look at what happened last time. Or, somebody who's close to you, maybe that has influence in your life, or not, but you give them space and they say, we haven't seen it yet. You shouldn't really believe in these things. No, it is not seeing to believe. Creating what you want is 100% about believing it, so that you can really realize it, see it in real life. These 5 keys, this formula, is an energy-packed focus on how you utilize your language, how you utilize your vision, how you utilize your emotions to create something really beautifully unique to you that turns your dream lifestyle into a reality.
That was just beautiful, Seth. And you know what I really love is the power and the simplicity of it. Um, You can call it whatever you want, the law of attraction, whatever it is, but this is basically, before we do anything, we have to envision it. Like even if we're looking, okay, what do I want for dinner? Right? You think about it. Do I want Chinese? Do I want Italian? Let me see. No, I don't feel like Chinese. Yeah, I feel like Italian. you know oh, that tastes so good. I love the whatever it is, maybe cannolis for dessert, whatever, right? It's like, okay, now we see it, we can taste it, we can feel the meal. Okay, wait, am I going to make it? No, I think I want to go to the restaurant. So we're actually seeing ourselves, yeah, no, I'm going to drive there, whatever. So it just, we do it all the time. We do it every day, every action we take, and it's just so important. And the part where believe it to see it, I believe I'm going to have Italian food when I get to that restaurant. I'm not going to go there and thinking Chinese is going to show up because it's an Italian restaurant. I believe I'm going to have that meal that I'm envisioning. And so it's a simple formula, but it's so powerful, because if we don't envision it, we don't believe it, we're not going to do it. I mean, if I don't believe the food is going to be there, I'm not going to the restaurant. Why would I go? That would be stupid. So, yeah.
You trained your brain. We have trained our brains to accept that. Oh, yeah. I can see it. I see Chinese. I see Italian, right? We know we're going to get it. What if it really is that simple to get into flow, to create every aspect, financial, spiritual, relationships, health, outcomes in our life?
Yeah.
Guess what? It's the same process.
It is, and that's the power of it. Now, I can't wait for you to share your declaration with everybody.
So here's a personal declaration that I wrote a year or two ago. Take you where I am. I've had mega success in my businesses, but I'm stuck. I find myself not at 8 o'clock in the morning in bed, which would be maybe sleeping in. I love sleeping in. I love sleep. Okay. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, because I'm in the fetal position, because I just don't feel like I'm accomplishing this next mission. I don't feel like I'm moving forward, right? If I'm feeling like you don't belong here, right? Hey, coach, right? And so I had an amazing coach in my life say, I want you to work on this. And so I worked on this personal declaration. I'm going to read it to you. And then I'll tell you what it did for me. I am infinite, always being, always emanating light, energy, and spirit. I am a son of God, divine and powerful, whole. I am a creator and a shaper of destiny. I am a warrior in the arena of life and eternity. Each contest forges my character, strengthens my muscles, and deepens my resolve. Opposition is my dearest friend and companion, providing opportunity for continual learning, growth, and triumph. I am destined by divine mandate and personal destination to battle, liberate, create, gather, and lead. I am rising, growing, being, and becoming. The successes of the past and present are beautiful. Those of the future are massive in size and exquisite in their beauty. I am a fierce lion. I am like a rising phoenix. I am a calm breeze. Just as the sun rises and spreads warmth and light and life, I was made, and I am to raise the hope, to nurture the life, to spread the light, and to share the warmth. Every obstacle, every enemy Every failure will pass away before my destination, my resolve, and my will. In the marketplace, I tread over weakness, fear, pride, because love, faith, and will are my weapons and power. Every day, I bring my vision and creation together in organization and clarity. I am a magnet for success, growth, and abundance. Individuals and teams who are willing, hungry, and coachable are attracted to me, to my vision, to my light, and to my power. I live in the flow, and I am a winner.
That, that was just beautiful. And the vision, the words you use, so empowering, so powerful and transformational. And as you were reading it, I could feel that you're feeling it, you know, and that was just so powerful. And that actually got me to yeah, I'm gonna show, because I had to pull out this slide. You know, be a leader with a vision and mission, you know, and people will follow. And I will tell you that when I heard you reading your mission, vision, your personal declaration, I got how committed you were, how you owned your declaration. You were there. I'm like, that's somebody I want to learn from. That's somebody that who knows he's going somewhere. He knows where he's going. And I always look for leaders who know where they're going. You know, as somebody without a compass, they're running around in circles, which a lot of people do, you know, is not going to get us to where we want to go. And so when somebody is sharing their personal declaration, it tells us their direction. It tells us their journey, and we get to decide, do we want to go with them? So the personal declaration is not just for you. The personal declaration is to inspire people too. So as you're writing your personal declaration, just remember, you're a leader. People are going to follow you. If you don't believe, they won't believe. If you believe, you're going to do. But here's the other part: when other people are following you because they believe in you, then you believe in yourself even more, because now it's like, wait a minute, you get affirmation after affirmation, you know, validation, the validation. So I can't even say the word anymore. But anyways, yeah, you're getting validated for your vision. Yes, I believe you will do that. And, you know, imagine having 1,000 people saying, I believe you will do that. Yeah, that's so powerful. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So anyways, I'm fired up, as you can tell. So
when you know who you are and you know why you're here, everything changes in your life. Everything changes in your life. Some of those changes will be immediately manifest. I literally saw almost an overnight change in my own personal business and my own personal output. And I'm talking about results. And I'm not talking about like me working hard. I'm not talking about people coming to me. I'm talking about recruiting. I'm talking about, well, conversion, right? Call it client or customer conversion. I saw that increase almost overnight, not by 10%, not by 20%, like over 200%, like almost immediately. Now, the real key is this. The real key is when you compound this over and over, day after day after day after week after week after week after month after month after month after year after year. I'm telling you, this will change your life. This turns your dream lifestyle into your actual day-to-day reality.
Totally believe it. And you guys, we're getting ready to wrap this up. And like, I was saying earlier, we're doing all kinds of trainings. There's more. We've just scratched the surface of what's possible in each one of these. Actually, you can hear all you want, but it's the actual doing. It's the actual of, crafting your declaration. It's the actual crafting your story and being very mindful of what's so unique about you so you can choose your story strategically. All of this is like, it just so beautifully worked together. And I know from my own experience is when I actually do it, that's when it goes from the head to the heart, experiencing something, actually doing it. The longest distance sometimes is the distance at 18 inches from the head to the heart. That takes forever to get to for some people. And so what I have found is the actual act of doing it and doing it with others who see you, who edify, who cheer you on, and your experiences. And so if you can't tell, right, the interaction between Seth and I so believed where he's going, and he so embraced what I was showing him about the unique influencer code. Yeah, you only scratch the surface, but if you dive in, look at what comes up. And so that's what we're actually doing. We want to invite you to the next training that we're doing, and basically, so here's what it is. It's experiential learning. That means you do it. You work in groups, you share information, you get feedback. The actual act of doing, it's huge. And also you get laser coaching. You get laser coaching not only from Seth and I, but you also get laser coaching from the people that you're working with, people who are crafting their stories and their unique, influencer code. And having somebody else point things out is just amazing. Very, very powerful. And so part of it is, we'll be going into breakout rooms. We just, we're going to hang out for a full day, basically, right? Write the story or put together the unique influencer code and go into rooms and get feedback and come back. So basically, here's what's planned. The first thing is unique influencer code. You will put together your work experiences or choose one particular or two or three that are going to be part of your story. And then you're going to choose the life experiences that support that story. Like, why do you do what you do? What aspect of your life? What was going on? Maybe what was that perturbation story that they said, you know what, I'm going to quit my corporate job and I'm going to start a business from this hobby that I've been having all these years. Or I'm so inspired with a transformational moment. Maybe it was a health scare, which a lot of us have, especially right now. With what's going on in the world, there's so many. Maybe it was a financial, maybe it was a relationship shift that happened, or maybe you were just going to the next level in your spirituality. Whatever the story is that got you to say, that's what I'm going to do. That's who I am. That's what inspired me. And then, of course, we're going to look at the natural gifts. And I can't tell you how important it is to have others witness our natural gifts. So we so undervalue, and it's a process, it's the learning that we've had. But when somebody is a witness to our natural gifts, when we see somebody's inspired by something we put very little value on, and like, how did you do that? What do you mean that? I do that in my sleep. And like, how did you do that? Because the things that are very easy to us are the treasures that we are born with. Those are our natural gifts. And so you're going to be able to put this together experientially. Remember, every time we create something, you go into a breakout room, you get feedback, you come out of it, and then people are able to support you and share your story. So, and get feedback from your instructors and your group members. So that in itself. Then the script. Yes.
If I can just say one thing about this one-day intensive master your story, magnify your impact, this training that we're doing. Imagine you find out something amazing. Like when I found out about influencer code, when you showed me influencer code, my jaw dropped and I just said, wow, that's brilliant. It was like endorphins, like just, like all these chemicals going. It was, I was high, like it was a rush. Wow, this is so cool. This is so valuable. It's so awesome. When we sat down together, intensive, and actually wrote mine out, did the work, helped me craft it, that was priceless. And so it's awesome to learn new things, but it is priceless to be able to intensively spend the time to put them into practice, to discover them, to polish them so you can put them into practice. And that's what's, I'm so excited about the one-day intensive, is that it's not more information as much as you're going to walk out of there having cracked your own unique influencer code. You're going to be a different person.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, Seth, because one of the things that kind of stood out is when somebody is looking at the same thing from a different perspective, they see something different. And that's what happened when I was like, well, what about this? You're like, oh, yeah. It was very interesting to watch that, because we're so programmed to see things a certain way that we don't even think of a new perspective. Our minds are on, autopilot, and so that, having the different perspective, looking at it is just beautiful. So the other thing that we will do is your script. Remember, I shared with you the actual story part, but when we're together, you're going to be able to craft your hook. You're going to be able to test your hook. The opening statement, like we opened this up, I said, if you ever said, if they only knew how much I could help them, and I know you have, because if you're as passionate about what you do and making a difference as we are, everybody is, we are like, if you only knew how much I could help you, if you only knew how good this is, if you only knew that you don't have to suffer. That feeling, when you know how to articulate it, what is your hook? The quick to the point, that question that gets people answering, yes, you know what I need. The hook is very important. So we'll be crafting that. And also the body, you'll be putting the story together as I shared with you, and you'll be able to share it. 3 minutes. 3 minutes is a long time, to share a story. It doesn't sound like a long time, but most of the commercials we watch on TV are 10 seconds. Look at how much information they deliver in 10 seconds. So 3 minutes, it's an eternity when it comes to sharing a story. Okay, and the other thing you're going to know is how to put together the call to action. The thing about the call to action is that every information we share has to have an appropriate call to action, especially nowadays. The difference between a marketing video, a sales video, and a training video is the call to action. Everything is a training video. Everything is training. Everything is sharing information. Everything is about tips and resources. Think about it. So how do you add the call to action to the training video, to the sales video, to the marketing video that gets the person to the next level, so they understand why they should be paying attention, why they should be saying yes? And so these 3 things you're going to be able to walk through, and you're going to be able to test it. And so another thing we're going to be doing is what Seth was sharing with you. You're going to craft your declaration, but here's the other thing that's a really crucial part, and I want to kind of bring it in there. When you are writing your declaration, you want to think of your ideal customer, your ideal client, what I call your divine client, when you're writing your declaration for your business. Remember that just like you, they also have different aspects of their lives. So when you are sharing about yourself, your vision for your business, the financial vision, Is it aligned? Remember, they also have the same, you know, wants. They also have the same needs when it comes to family for themselves. So how will you impact their lives? They're watching for that. Just like I was impacted by Seth with the vision that he had. I'm like, I know where he's going. I want to go too. So when you're writing your declaration, remember to see the whole person. They also have financial needs. They also have health needs, and they also have relationship needs. They also have spiritual needs. So as you're writing all of this out, remember that every problem we have, whether it's money, health, or relationships, impacts the other. So if we have money problems, our relationship suffers. Think about it. Stress, fighting, arguing, blaming. And if we are stressed, our health suffers, right? Or if we are sick, we don't get to spend quality time with our loved ones. The relationship suffers. If we're sick, money goes out the window. We'll spend the last dime to get healthy again. Or our relationship, goes out the window, money goes out. Our relationship falls apart. We're stressed, our health goes. And if we're not spiritually centered, nothing gets balanced, right? So everything is impacting. So when you're writing your declaration, and if you do it the way Seth is outlining it, you're going to be able to cover every aspect of your life. And at the same time, give your ideal clients the vision that they can step into. Because once you know how to write your declaration, you can actually write the declaration for your clients, your vision for them. You guys, this is so powerful. I can't wait to write my declarations. I'm going to be doing it right along with you. I'm excited. I can't wait to do it. Since I know you have some things to add to this, because I just kind of took over because I'm just so excited over it. So go for it.
Anne's talking about understanding the person that you want to serve, right? You don't want everybody. You don't need to serve everybody. You don't need to sell to everybody or sell your book or your program or your product. You don't need that. You don't want that. That was never your goal. You want to impact millions. Yes. You need to know specifically that one person who you're there to help, who your program, your gifts, your product is there to serve. And the more you know about that person, the more you've tailored everything you do to that one person, the more successful you're going to be in finding that person. Because when that person hears your story, they're going to be like, that's me. That's me. They won't be able to get to you fast enough. And it's amazing to see that in action. It's amazing to see DMs coming into me saying, Seth, how do I be a part of this? Seth, tell me more about what you're doing in this aspect of your life. One of my missions is to help women be massively successful in business. I'm a champion for women in business. So when I get these women who are reaching out to me and saying, I want to know more about that, I know that, guess what? I know a little about them. You don't want to talk to a general person. You want to talk to a specific person. And here's what we know. Anne's got these 4 incredible categories: finance, health, relationships, spirituality. That one person that you're crafting your message to, multiply that by 1 million. And you'll be underestimating the target. In other words, if you want to go big, think small, think specific. And that's going to help you go big, as opposed to, well, who does your book help? My book helps everybody. No, it can't help everybody. I want to know the one person it's going to help. And then we're going to craft a story, an identity to help that person.
That was beautifully said, because when you are describing the story, how you helped Sue or Joe, what was going on with them, what happened, what was going on in your life, what happened, they're like, yes, that's me. She gets it, or he gets it. And that's the beauty of it. And quite frankly, with 8 billion people on the planet, it's not going to be that difficult to find 100, 200, or 1,000 people easily who say, yeah, that's me, I get it. And so here's the other thing too that we're going to be actually sharing with you. And it's what I call the AAA. I have been using this system to make every decision for God over 30 years. Once I realized the power of it, to discern, what's going on, whether it's a challenge or an opportunity. I call it the AAA. So the very first thing is awareness. And what that means is that you are looking at the problem or the opportunity. Okay. I'm aware, oops, there is a problem. There's something that's not right here. Or like, whoa, wait a minute, there is an opportunity. Let me take a look. Just awareness that there's something there. It's in front of you. It's like, it's there. Something is happening, right? So the next one is acceptance. You accept, wait a minute, this is a real thing, because we get a lot of ideas. Most of them we just like discuss, no, not so much. But when you come to a place like, whoa, I need to focus on this. This is either a real problem that needs to be dealt with, or it's a real opportunity that must be, we have to take a deeper look, take a deep dive. Then it's like, okay, how do you decide what to do? Now, if it's a problem, you're like, okay, what's going to happen if I take action? What's going to happen if I don't? You think of a particular actions like, well, if I don't do anything, it's going to multiply the bad things. If I do something, the good things are going to multiply, whatever it is. So you want to make sure once you say, this is something that needs to be dealt with, is that what will happen if you do blank? What will happen if you don't? So you have to act one way or another. Not, deciding not to act is a decision in itself. So if you don't do anything, what's going to happen? Think about, a flood in your house. You just sit there, let it run. What's going to happen? It's going to take over the house. You got to shut that sink or whatever you got to do. So not doing something is a decision in itself. It's an act in itself. Okay, so once you decide to take action, then it's like, okay, what is the action I'm going to take? What am I going to do? I'm going to get up, I'm going to do this, I'm going to click here, or I'm going to go shut that faucet so the flood doesn't get worse. Then you have to actually decide on what the action steps are. First, I'm going to do this. Next, I'm going to do that. And you guys, the AAA, whenever I'm frazzled, there's a problem or there's an opportunity, I'm just like, okay, AAA, awareness, acceptance, action, So what am I going to do? And so you also are going to learn how to implement this. You're going to walk through a scenario, but I'm going to invite you to actually walk through a scenario here right now. Awareness is that, wait a minute, right? I can compete with everybody out there, or I can lean into my unique influencer code where there is no competition. I am it. And I can just keep talking about the product, or I can tell the story that's compelling, that's dynamic, that takes people on a journey, and they can decide for themselves if it's the right thing or not, because I'm serving the person that I'm meant to serve. And I don't want to attract people who are going to follow me and I'm not going to be able to serve them. So the story, once you make a decision of who you are, what you want to do, and the stories that you share is going to be attracting the people you are meant to serve and who will be served by you, because they are truly getting the essence of who you are and the steps on how you're going to be able to help them, right? And of course, the next step is going to be, all right, I'm going to get out there. I'm going to be seen, and you're going to overcome any kind of fear that you have. And like I shared with you earlier, I have a 15-minute hack that works 100% of the time. So what will happen if that hesitation that you have right now of showing up and being interviewed and sharing your information is gone, disappeared? Think about it. You basically are going to be able to clone yourself 1,000 times, because every video you create, every time you go live, or every time somebody shares a video, there you are. If you ever said, I wish I could clone myself, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. You go out there, you have your marketing team, a whole bunch of you. You have your sales team, a whole bunch of you guys, and a training team. So if you get out there, and when you put together your declaration, you're going to be grounded in the power of your vision. you're going to be able to do the AAA in every aspect of it. Awareness, acceptance, action. You're going to move to the next level, because without action, nothing gets done. And so once the vision is clear and our action steps are clear, the decision is made. Now we're going to go out there and share the message. Amazing things happen. So that's what this is. Hey, awareness. Look what's in front of you right now. And the acceptance, are you accepting? You can accept to take action or not. What's going to happen if you don't learn how to do this? What's going to happen if you do? So think about the possibilities, and then what are you going to do? The action step, what are you going to do? You can choose not to do anything, or you can choose to join us. And I'm not even going to mention the price, because right now it's just so ridiculously low. And this is something, don't laugh, Seth. Don't laugh. It's like, are you crazy? So it's so ridiculous, but it's, it's something very powerful. And this, what you're watching right now, is going to be serving many, many people. So you want to take the link below to find out more about the one-day intensive experiential. We're going to be getting together for 8 hours in one day, online on Zoom, so you don't have to travel anywhere, but you do get to go into breakout rooms. You do get to ask and get questions and support others and share your brilliance, so you are known and seen and network with people across the globe. So this is your opportunity to really go global and have that global visibility and get out there. So Seth, I'm going to toss it over to you, because I can see you have something to say.
Me have something to say? Yes, I do, and I'm not ashamed. Right?
I love to hear you. You're always brilliant. It's always pearls of wisdom, the gems you drop all the time. Yes.
What a wonderful bonus that you've shared here. The AAA formula for making big decisions. And as I was listening and I was thinking about my life and the opportunities that I've had, the problems that I was experiencing, the opportunities that manifested themselves in my life. And I was thinking about number 2, acceptance. I was thinking, what would have happened? Where would I be today? What would happen if I didn't say yes to that opportunity 22 years ago, when a neighbor knocked on my door and basically said, we're starting a company. You're going to lose, your pay is going to go down. You're going to lose your insurance. You're going to lose your retirement. I was young. I was in my mid-20s. And we don't know if it's going to work, but we think it will. Right. And I weighed everything, but I think about what would have happened if I wouldn't have said yes to that. Right. Or a couple of years later, when a dear friend and mentor said, hey, there's this opportunity, it means, Seth, it means that you're going to have to develop a new skill set, and you're going to be really uncomfortable. Actually, I really was uncomfortable. I was scared to death. And you know what it happened? It was like storytelling, telling my story, going out and sharing my story with people scared me to death. And the only reason I did it, I asked myself this question, honestly, what would happen if I do or if I don't? And I thought about that. What if I don't? And I could see this like a pot of gold, which not the money itself, but what that freedom, financial freedom, man, change your life. I could see the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And between me and the pot of gold was all this stuff I didn't want to do, right? Learning how to tell your story and talking to people and being vulnerable, right? And maybe some people are going to reject me. By the way, accept that. Accept it and embrace it. People will reject you. Guess what? They're not your audience. They're not your audience. Don't worry about it. You never had to do anything for them anyway, right? But I think about that, Anne. Oh my goodness. What a blessing. What an absolute gift in my life. I made the right decision. I'm going to take some credit for it. I'll take some. God gave me, I give all the glory to God, but I'm going to take some credit that I made the decision. I took action because I could see, some of the hardest decisions in my life. What am I going to get if I do this? And sometimes we actually realize more, there's a bigger revelation when we think, what do I stand to lose if I don't do this? I'll end with this. I'm so excited about the one-day intensive that we've put together. I think it's the biggest value that I've been training entrepreneurs for 20 plus years. I had an entrepreneur recently. I was out with him and his wife. We were on a double date at an ice cream parlor, okay, getting some of the good stuff. And he said to me, as we're sitting down waiting for them to scoop up, I want some massive chocolate peanut butter ice cream, double scoop on a waffle cone. I'm so hungry right now, I can taste it. He said, Seth, as your career, what is the most important one thing that has contributed, you think, to your success? The one skill, right? And I'm going to say foundationally, having a belief in me, a declaration about me is the number one most important thing. The story, right, is how you share that, how you share who you are. So number one, knowing who you are. Number two, knowing why you're here. That's the declaration. And I said to him, I said, the ability for you to share your vision, your story, who you are with other people so that they are attracted and they want to follow you. That is the number one most important thing. So I'll leave you with that. What happens? What happens to you if you and when you implement what Anne's taught here today, what I've taught? When you know your influencer code, when you know that the camera loves you and you know how to turn that on, right? Just flip the switch. Here we go. It's heart time. When you know how to share a hook and a body and a call to action, how does that affect your business? When you do those things, what does it look like? Where do you go? What does your lifestyle look like? What does it feel like? Okay. If you don't learn how to tell your story, if you don't learn who you are, if you don't mind these incredible gifts that you've got sitting under the surface, they're just, for me, they were just a little bit under the surface and I just had to scratch, right? And I'm still discovering them. I'm telling you, I'm having so much fun mining the treasure trove inside of my heart, this unique gift that is me. Wow. What happens if I don't act on that? What happens if I don't put in the time? What happens if I don't invest in me? That's scary. And sometimes that motivates me more because it helps me realize more of that treasure that I have in me. And so I'm excited about the one-day intensive. It's going to be over the top amazing, invaluable. And I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there with you and I'm going to pour everything I have into championing men and women in businesses and them attaining their own dreams.
Oh, thank you, Seth. That was just beautiful. Yeah, as I am, you guys, you can tell we're both passionate, not only about what we do, but why we do it. It's about not only impacting our own lives and living our declaration, but also others around us, the people that we're meant to serve. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful way to be, because it's just, you can be inspired every day. And I'm just going to share one of my mentors, share something one day, Alex Mondosian, when I was making a decision about something, and he was like, the only thing worse than going in the wrong direction is going in the wrong direction enthusiastically. Then you have a longer way to turn around and backpedal. And you know what? That is the one thing. This is where the AAA always helps me make the right decision. Even if I'm going in the wrong way, at least I'm not doing it enthusiastically and I come back. So you're going to be able to do that. And the story mining aspect of it, very, very powerful. So we're going to leave you with this. Seth, thank you so much for all that you shared and your passion and your knowledge. My goodness. So thank you.
Oh, Anne, thank you. Thank you for mentoring me and helping me craft my story and be a better storyteller, having the conversations with me, right? Being intensive with me. I mean, you've taken me through intensive training with the unique influencer code. I feel so powerful, and I didn't, and I was super successful before, but I feel amazing. I feel absolutely amazing. So you're just a gem. You are absolutely giving me access to my own expertise in a way I've never experienced before. So I'm
Ooh,
excited to spend the 1-day intensive with you.
I love that. Thank you. And I'm honored to be doing it with you. I'm making the impact we're supposed to make, and we are making. So with that, everybody, I'm Ann DeVere. And for my co-host here, Seth Mulder, thank you so much for joining us. And do take the link below to see what we're talking about. And gosh, just take a look, because the investment is so minimal, and the payout, the impact, and what we would do for you and your loved ones and your life is just, do the AAA. Just do the AAA. Go to the page and do the AAA. Thanks everybody for joining us. We're going to sign off now.
Cheers.